How many of you know my story? I'm just going to remind you again. I'm at school, absolute bum. I wanted to study, and I could study. But when it would come to examinations, I had no confidence. The moment I would sit down, everything I've ever learnt had vanished. So I failed practically all my exams. My English, my maths, I failed 3 times, I never passed. I did geography quite well, I did history quite well. Anyway, through the pressure of my mother, I went to university, I studied 1 year, and I got the grades I needed to get into a relatively okay university. Nothing great. I went to Sheffield University, right, in the UK. I studied business administration, which I've never used in my life, which is really useful. In fact, most people never bother using the education they get, but it's still good to have. It's very important to have as a foundation. So now 21, I'm not fat yet, but I'm really in no confidence. And I come across an opportunity to start a business while I'm studying at university. So what I decided, I see this house, and the house is for sale for, I think, 15 or 17,000 pounds, which wasn't much, because in London the houses were 70, 80, 90,000 pounds. I looked at the house and I thought, I'm renting a room right now as a student, but if I buy this house, I can get a loan, and the loan will actually be the same amount as my rent. So I could keep that room and rent out 4 other rooms. Wow, I'm in business. So I managed to get a loan. Don't ask me how, but I did manage to get a loan. Everything is possible. And I got my first property. So I'm super happy, but I'm not confident. Then I decided to myself that, I need to make a change. How do I make a change? I couldn't talk to people. I would stand in an event like this. If I went, I'd be at the back. Not because there was no room, because I would choose the back. I don't want anyone to come and pick me. If someone walked towards me, my heart would beat. I could not speak to a girl at all, like terrified, because I did not have the confidence. But 21, things changed dramatically. I attended a seminar. And when I attended a seminar, it did nothing for me, because I didn't believe anything the person said. But the participants did everything for me. Because I thought, it's okay for this guy. It's okay for him. He's got it, it's easy for him. He can do anything because he's successful and he's got money. But then when people stood up and they spoke, I thought, wow, people change. I can change too. And one of the greatest philosophies I've ever learned in my life is people never change, you do. Nothing changes. Your husband, your wife, your children, nobody changes. The only thing that changes is your perception. Nothing changes. And for me, that was a radical breakthrough. Because now, instead of me saying that the whole world must change, I discovered that I must change. Now, if you think about that, isn't that a completely new way of living? Because before you would go through the world blaming the whole world for things. He should change, she should change, he should change, she should change. And you never blamed yourself. And all of a sudden you realize that everything that is possible is within you. It's in your hands. Everything. Your success or failure ultimately is your fault. Ultimately, because the choice will come from you eventually. So I thought about that, and that changed my whole way of thinking. So I started a business. I made a lot of money, making an absolute fortune. By the time I hit 24, I am super broke. And because I didn't know how to manage my money. Money comes easy, money goes easier. So I thought, how do I manage my money? And I discovered something called NLP, which some of you have. How many of you have heard of NLP? How many of you have not? NLP is a behavioral science called neuro-linguistic programming. Now, the challenge with NLP is this, is that people think that if they go to an NLP program and they get certified, they can become an NLP practitioner and they can start coaching. Absolute lie. I've been to 27 practitioner programs myself. I go once a year if I can. And I still know maybe 5% of NLP. It's such a huge science. But I discovered NLP and I discovered how I can change my state. That's all I discovered. How do I go from down to being up like this? Like this. And I thought, wow, this is a revelation, because I don't have to always be in a bad space. I can be angry for the right reason, and so you should. And I can be happy for the right reason. And if I want to cry, I can also cry for the right reason. But I don't have to stay there. I can move and I can shift and I can take my life to another dimension. So NLP comes in my life. By that time I'm overweight because I'm eating McDonald's all day long. But then a radical shift happens. I thought to myself, I've made a lot of money. It didn't change my life significantly. Same problems, maybe a little larger, more stylish problems, but I had problems. But now I realize that if I manage my emotions, I can become a person of substance. I can become a good character. I can do something that people will remember and it can affect people. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. And to cut a long story short, I'm conducting seminars around the world because I learned this behavioral science. Along the way, for me, NLP became a part of the whole equation, a minor part. Because the best part of the whole equation is people like you. Because when you stand up and you speak and you share something, it creates a light bulb moment. Bing! And someone thinks, my God, he's talking about me. Or I know someone similar. God, I didn't even think of that. And that's how transformation happens. And that's the kind of transformation that I've had.